darts, batteries, ammunition, breathing these in day after day for year-long deployment, several members deploying multiple times. It's not a surprise that this is going to result in rare cancers, respiratory illnesses, all the above. But the problem is that the VA refuses to provide health care for those veterans that have come down very ill with these. And they're literally dying. We are losing service members. We've lost service members. So it is well overdue. We're really happy that both the Senate and the House are so close to passing this very comprehensive legislation. Unfortunately, I think it's going to come down to fights over money. I think there's going to be members of Congress that are going to say, if you list all 23, if not more, of these illnesses, we, the government, are going to have to pay a lot of money to take care of these veterans. But that should not be a question. It is our responsibility as a government, as a country, to take care of these sick veterans.
You, in fact, wrote an op-ed with General David Petraeus and Dr. David Shulkin for NBC News titled, "A Memorial Day Appeal to Congress, Help Service Members with Toxic Burn Pit Exposure." Tell us a little bit more about your specific appeal to members of Congress, to President Biden, and do you feel you're making progress?
Thank you. I really do think we are making progress. And the appeal here is to include the large number of illnesses that we know are caused by exposure to these types of toxins. You mentioned the two bills right now. The real difference between the House bill and the Senate bill are the number of covered illnesses. The House bill has about 23. The Senate bill has, I think, less than 15, maybe 12 to 15. And that's a huge difference because the ones that are excluded are the ones that we know are really the result of many of these exposures. And so if we're going to do this, we need to do it right. We need to do it now. As you mentioned, I think in the lead up to the story, we're still dealing with illnesses that are caused from Agent Orange exposure to our Vietnam veterans. So so many decades later, we're still dealing with that. We're 20 years on now from the start of these wars. We don't want to be in the same case where we're making piecemeal changes to give veterans the health care that they deserve.
We're almost out of time, but I want to mention quickly that President Biden has said he suspects toxic exposure in Iraq contributed to his son Beau Biden's death, but he can't prove it. Thousands of families find themselves in that same situation. So what do we do as a nation to highlight this problem? How do we get to that place?
Yeah, and we're doing it right now. So thank you, Chris, for talking about this. I think what's happening is more and more stories are getting out. People are seeing the true cost of these wars. They're seeing these veterans that are literally on their deathbed because of the exposure, because of the cancers that they've come down with, because of the respiratory illnesses. The more and more we can show the individual veterans and the families that are suffering from this, I think the greater chance there is that Congress is going to pass the comprehensive legislation that we need. So I think the biggest thing that we're asking everyone to do is to talk about this. Make sure your members of Congress know that you support the legislation and share the stories of the veterans and the families that are suffering so much right now.
Well, we thank you for taking the time to talk about it. Jeremy Butler, Chief Executive Officer of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. Happy Memorial Day to you. We appreciate your time. Tomorrow marks the start of hurricane season, and the National Hurricane Center predicts this year is going to be an above-average one. And there are new concerns today that the agency in charge of helping Americans recover from hurricanes is stretched way too thin. We'll be right back.